Very good morning, dear students. Today we'll start chapter 5, that is cell, and it is known as the fundamental unit of life. It is known as the fundamental unit of life. Okay, so today we are starting part 1 of this chapter. See, as in earlier classes we have already discussed that cell is the first structure, okay, of our human body. Various cells combines with each other and forms a tissue. Tissue combines with each other and forms organ. Organ forms organ system, and finally organ system combines and forms body. Organ system combinedly forms body. Okay, so cell, when the various types of cells combines with each other and they form unit of cell is known as tissue. Okay, various types of tissue combines to form organ, and from organ system is formed, and from organ system our body is formed. Okay, so that means this is the basic unit. Cell is the basic unit for our body. Okay, cell is the basic unit of our body. See, the various activities in our body is performed by the cell only. For example, respiration, circulation, digestion, then various types of cell. All the activities are performed in the cell. Okay, so we can say cell is the structural and functional unit of life. We can say that cell is structural and functional unit of life. Cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Structural means what? Our body structure. Okay, and functional, the various types of function which is performed in our body is known as the structural and functional unit of life. And also we can say that it is also a fundamental unit. Okay, it is not life, it is body. Cell is the structural and functional unit of body. Okay, cell is the structural and functional unit of body, and cell is also known as the fundamental unit. Okay, it is also known as the fundamental unit. See, fundamental unit means what? Okay, what is the meaning of fundamental unit? Fundamental means basic. Okay, fundamental means basic. Okay, as we see, fundamental means basic unit. As we can see in this process or in this series, cell is the basic structure. From the cell only tissues are formed, and organs are formed from tissue. Organ system is formed from organ, and body is formed from organ system. That means it is the basic unit. Okay. Now, next is the question arises: who discovered the cell? Okay, the question arises: who discovered the cell? The answer is Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Robert Hooke in the year 1665 first observed a cell. Okay, and the next question is where he observed the cell. So the answer is he have taken a bark of tree, and from that bark of tree he have cut a slice of cork, and in that cork he have seen the cell. But cell is not visible by our naked eyes. Therefore, Robert Hooke have discovered a microscope. Okay, he have designed his own microscope, and he have discovered the cell. Okay, in the microscope. When he seen the cell in the microscope, then he seen a small compartment or small room-like structure, and he named them as a cell. Okay, the question is who discovered the cell? The question arises: who discovered the cell? Who discovered the cell? Okay, so the answer is Robert Hooke in the year 1665. Okay, Robert Hooke in the year 1665. What he have done? First, he have taken a bark of tree. From the bark of tree, he have taken a piece or slice of cork. Now, that slice of cork he have observed in the microscope, which was designed by him. Okay, he have seen the slice of cork in the microscope. Okay, he have observed the cork in the microscope, and the microscope was designed by him only. Okay, then in the microscope he have seen a small compartment like structure, as you can see on the board. Small compartment like structure he has seen. Like this structure we have seen, and he named them as a cell. See, this compartment of structure was seen like a honeycomb. They are seen like a honeycomb. Okay, they are like a honeycomb, and he have named this cell. He have named this compartment as cell. Okay, so the question can be asked: who discovered the cell and how? So you'll answer, in year 1665 Robert Hooke discovered this cell. How he have discovered this cell? He have taken a bark of tree. From that bark of tree he have taken a slice of cork, and he observed that cork in the microscope, which designed by him only. Okay, then in that microscope he has observed a small room like structure or some small compartment like structure, and they are like honeycomb. Okay, they seem like a honeycomb, and this small compartment like structure we have named them as a cell. Okay, now the next is, the next question is, why we have named them cell? Okay, why the small compartment he have named as cell? Okay, so the small compartment why we have given the name cell? Because in Latin language this compartment are known as cellular. Okay, these compartments are named as cellular. In Latin language, the compartments are named as cellula. Okay, cellula means small empty rooms. Okay, small empty rooms are known as cellula in Latin language. Therefore, we have named them as cell. Okay, now 3 questions we have cleared. Who discovered the cell? Robert Hooke. How he have discovered the cell? When he observed a bark of tree, and from that bark of tree he have cut a slice of cork, he have observed in that cork in the microscope, and he have seen the small room like structure, and he have named them as a cell. Third question is, why we have given the name cell? The answer is, the compartment in Latin language, these compartments are known as cellula. Okay, and the cellular, because of this name we have given the name cell. Okay, so this was the basic introduction about this cell. Now we will see the next concept. Now the problem was, the first cell which was observed by Robert Hooke was dead cell. Okay, the problem was, the cell which was observed by Robert Hooke was a dead cell. Okay, was a dead cell. Okay, so we can ask, or we can have the question, how we came to know that the cell was dead? Okay, how we came to know that the cell is dead, or how we came to know that the cell is dead? Okay, so there is one name which is known as cytoplasm. If cytoplasm is present in a If cytoplasm is present in a cell, then the cell will call alive, okay, or we can say living cell. And if the cytoplasm is absent, then we call that cell as a dead cell. Okay. How Robert Hooke came to know that the cell is dead? Because the cytoplasm was absent. Okay, the cytoplasm was absent. Now, if the cytoplasm is present, the cell will be known as the living cell. But if the cytoplasm is absent, so the cell will be known as the dead cell. Okay, so the cell which was observed by Robert Hooke, in that cell the cytoplasm was absent. Therefore, the first cell which was observed by the Robert Hooke was a dead cell. Okay. Now, the question is, what is cytoplasm? Okay, so when we learn the structure of the cell, okay, in the cell a thick liquid is present inside the cell membrane, which is known as cytoplasm. Okay, when we'll see the structure of cell, the structure of cell contains 5 parts: cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, cell organelle and nucleus. Okay, cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, cell organelles and nucleus. So out of that 5 parts of the cell, cytoplasm is one of the part. Cytoplasm is a thick liquid which is present inside the cell membrane. Okay, at that time when we see or when we learn the structure of the cell, we will see what is cytoplasm in detail. Now the concept is the cell is dead. Okay, then what about the living cell? Now the question arises that who discovered the living cell? Okay, and when the living cell has been discovered? Okay, the answer is there was a scientist whose name is Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Anton von Leeuwenhoek, a scientist whose name was Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Okay, Anton von Leeuwenhoek in the year 1674. In the year 1674, observed first living cell in bacteria, protozoa and RBC. Okay, Anton von Leeuwenhoek was a scientist who discovered the first living cell. Okay, who discovered the first living cell in protozoa, bacteria and RBC. Okay, in protozoa, bacteria and RBC, he have discovered or he have observed the first living cell. Now the question, how he came to know that living cell or the cell which was observed by Anton von Leeuwenhoek is a living? Because the cell which was present in protozoa, bacteria and RBC was a living cell. How? Because it contained cytoplasm. Okay, the cell was containing cytoplasm. Therefore, the cell which was observed by Anton von Leeuwenhoek is the first living cell. Okay, the question can be asked, who discovered the first living cell? The answer is Anton von Leeuwenhoek in the year 1674 have discovered the first living cell. Clear? Okay. Now the next very important concept given in our textbook, that is cell theory. Okay, cell theory. Okay. Now we will see what is cell theory and who given the cell theory. Okay. So there were two scientists whose name was M.J. Schleiden and T. Swan. Okay, M.J. Schleiden and Swan. There were two scientists whose name was Schleiden and Swan given the cell theory. Okay, and what is cell theory? We will see. M.J. Schleiden Okay, these two scientists have given the cell theory. And what is cell theory? The question is, what is cell theory? Cell is each and every living organisms, each and every living organisms are composed of, or we can say each and every living organism's body. Okay, each and every living organism's body is composed of smallest unit, and that smallest unit is known as cell. What is cell theory? The cell theory was given by the two scientists. Their name were Sheoganj and Schwann. And what is cell theory? Each and every living organism's body is composed of smallest unit. Each and every living organism's body was composed of small unit, and that small unit is known as cell. Okay, so you can write the definition. What is cell theory? Okay, next is the cell theory is each and every living organism's body is composed of smallest unit, which is known as cell. If anyone asks us what is the smallest unit of our body, then the name is cell. Cell is the smallest unit of our body. Okay, now next is, now the question arises that how new cell arises. Okay, after the cell theory there was a question. Okay, after the cell theory there was a question how new cells arises. Now Sheoganj and Schwann is explained that, okay, they have explained that each and every organism's body is made up of smallest unit, which is known as cell. But after their theory, after the cell theory, the biggest question was how the cell arises. How the cell arises. Okay, this was a big question at that time, how the new cells arises. Okay, so the answer of this question was given by a scientist whose name was Robert Virchow. Okay, Robert Virchow. Okay, Robert Virchow was a scientist who have given the answer of this question, how the new cells arises. Okay, now he have given one statement in his language. The statement was omnis cellula e cellula. Okay, he have given one statement in his language, that is omnis cellula e cellula. What is the meaning of this statement, omnis cellula e cellula? The meaning of this statement is each pre-existing cell give rise to new cell. Okay, each pre-existing cell give rise to new cell. Okay, so the answer how the new cells arises was given by Robert Virchow. Okay, he have given one statement in his language, that is omnis cellula e cellula. What is the meaning of omnis cellula e cellula? That means each pre-existing cell give rise to new cell. Okay, each pre-existing cell, जो सेल पहले से ही प्रेजेंट होते हैं वो नया सेल बनाते हैं. इसका मतलब ये है कि जो सेल पहले से ही प्रेजेंट होते हैं वो नया सेल जनरेट करते हैं. ठीक है, so each pre-existing cell give rise to new cell. Now So how new cells arises? By the pre-existing cell. Now the question is, how many types of cells are present? Okay, how many types of cells are present? So we'll see there are two types of cells, or how many types of organisms on the basis of cell. On the basis of cell structure, how many types of organisms are present? So we'll see there are two types of organisms are present on the basis of cell. First is unicellular organisms. Okay, and second is multicellular organisms are present. Multicellular organisms. Okay, unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. What is unicellular? See, by the name we can understand. Uni means single and cellular means cell. Okay, uni means single and cellular means cell. That means the organisms whose body composed of single cell. The organisms whose body composed of a single cell, then that they organisms. Okay, that organisms are known as unicellular organisms. And here, what is multi? Multi means many. Multi means many, and cellular means cell. Okay, so the organisms whose body composed of multi cells, multi, or you can say many cells are known as multicellular organisms. Okay, by the name we understand unicellular and multicellular, you don't have to by heart. Okay, the example of unicellular organisms are very famous example, you must have heard amoeba, okay, euglena, paramecium. Okay, amoeba, euglena and paramecium. And the examples for multicellular organisms are known as plants, most of the plants, animals. Okay, plants, animals and fungus. Okay, plants, animals, fungus, etc. Okay, amoeba, euglena and paramecium are unicellular organisms. Plants, animal and fungus are multicellular organisms. Okay, so this was a basic introduction about our chapter, that is cell, the fundamental unit of life. Okay, what we have seen today, what is cell, who discovered the cell, and how we came to know that the cell is dead or alive on the basis of cytoplasm. The next question was, what is cell theory and who have given the name cell theory, or who have given cell theory? Then Sliden and Schwann. Next is, what is unicellular organisms and what is multicellular organisms? And we have already seen one concept, that how the new cells arises. Then the answer is Robert Virchow given a statement, omnicellular is cellular, that means each pre-existing cells give rise to new cells. Okay, so I hope you have understood the basic introduction. Okay, whatever the question or whatever the doubts related to this video, you can ask at the time of Google meeting. Okay, I hope you have understood. Then we'll continue second part in next lecture. Thank you.